Hey guys, Boyce here from Hit the Road with Boyce with an exclusive interview with this guy, Steve Arsenault.
Hey gorgeous, let's knock it in.
Hey guys, Boyce here from Hit the Road with Boyce with this exclusive interview with Steve Arsenault. Now, Steve, before we get to you, because I know once you start talking I won't get another word actually, I just want to say that you contacted me on Thursday. You asked me to come up here to interview you regarding your future with Wrestlecentre. I was kind of hesitant because, with me in Wrestlecentre I try to stay away from, just because, Jason Mosher, if you could link me to sinking the Titanic, I'm sure he would. So, with that, I'm just here. I don't know why I'm here. That's up for you to tell me. So, with that, welcome to Hit the Road.
Thanks.
You contacted me Thursday.
Yep.
As far as I know, Wrestlecentre announced a show January 30th. You were booked in the main event with JP Sims. Tell me what happened on Thursday.
I think Thursday was just kind of like... Thursday I called you literally like right after I got off the phone with the two of them, and it was not anything that happened that day, but it was an accumulation of a lot of things, and that was the day I decided the 30th is going to be my last Wrestlecentre show.
Okay, so leading up to Thursday, you were promoting the match as normally you would.
Yeah.
So what happened on Thursday that you decided that on the 30th, that's it for Wrestlecentre?
There was a lot of things, like I said, it wasn't anything particular that happened on the 30th. I did contact you literally right off the phone, on the phone after I got off with them, it's a hard story to tell, and it's not like something that's, like I said, it's a lot of little things. And I think Thursday when I contacted you, it was, I had kind of, in my head at least, came to the realization that no matter what I do there, it's only going to take me so far. And I mean, that probably sounds really shitty or ungrateful. Like you said, they're promoting me in the main event, which is a really good spot, and I'm leaving a really good spot. See, the thing with them and the whole situation is, I basically got baited and switched a bunch of times, which, I mean, a lot of me says, fucking, I should just shut up and take the money, and I hear a lot of the vets that, would probably hear that too and say, just shut up and take the money. It's,
Well, let's go back. You said you bait and switch a few times. Yeah. So when did it start? There must be a start point where... Well,
to start at the start, really, when I first started, when the company first started, I do have a real life issue with JP Sims that goes back even before Wrestlecentre. Like, we used to wrestle in UCW years ago, and I used to like him at one point, and then, there's a lot of, I'm not trying to sling dirt, or fucking even hype up anything. It's just, I didn't want to work with him. I told him flat out, and there was 3 guys that, they all went through Gary's school, but at the time, I was working with them a lot. They were Joe Giles, Tommy Starr,
James
Smith, sorry Tommy, Tommy Starr, and Nick Diggs. And me and my buddy Shane would drive down to Halifax. We would work with them they had a ring set up in this barn that was falling down, and, every time we went there, they were there, so it showed me that they, they cared, they wanted to get better, so I was like, man, bring me in and just let me work with them. And, like, that's a shoot. You can go back on their show that my first 8 months, that's who I worked with, was the 3 of them in some way or shape or form. And that's all I wanted to do. And I didn't want to, I wasn't going there to be like, promote me to the top or even looking for a top position, I just wanted to go there and work. It was another place to work. It was
Right.
another avenue, I guess, in Halifax, another booking. So I was like, sweet. And then, you know, for whatever reason, I started getting over down there. And the second that happened, they were like, it's you and JP, and they're trying to lay it out for me. And I'm like, no. And one of my big issues with, you know, like I said, we have our total wrestling aside issues on top of wrestling issues, which makes it even more.
Okay.
I just, you know what I mean? It's just one of the things I don't want to do. I don't want to work with them. And so then they go, well, you're not going to work with them. And they did the little tag thing, and we did the stare down thing. And that wasn't something they came up with. That was you could see it. It was like heat. And as soon as we came back, I remember they were like literally waiting at the curtain. They're like, okay, now it's you and JP. We're going to do this, this, and this. And I'm like, no. I'm like, no. I'm not doing it. And one of my big things with him, and you know, you can even go back on his little video that he did on YouTube about how it's fucking comical. He's like, I wouldn't job the belt to Matt Bullen because I care so much about Wrestlecentre.
Yeah, but that video was probably a work.
You know what? I'm pretty sure, and I'm almost sure that if there was a situation where if that was a work or a shoot, if it was a shoot, he would have done the exact same thing. And he did leave the company, and there was some sort of real life sour grapes between the two of them, and that was the way that they got the belt off him. They got the belt off him with a 10 count or some stupid shit, and then and that's part of the professional heat. Like when we wrestled in UCW, I remember I had good momentum there too as a heel, and me and him were talking, and I'm like, okay, yeah, we could do this, this, and this. I should pitch it. So I'd go pitch it, and the creative there would laugh and be like, I knew you were going to say that. I'm like, how'd you know I was going to say that? And they're like, well, JP came and said, Steve's going to say this, this, and this, but it's fucking stupid. Let's not do it.
Right.
So he was already trying to kind of undercut me, and back then, and that, like, all I want to do is fucking have a good match. Like, at that point, I didn't give a shit about putting him over.
So is your issue not that you were asked to, I'm guessing, lose the match?
Well, I mean, that's not even that.
JP?
A little bit that, but not like, see, now that sounds like I just don't want to do the job or anything like that. And believe me, and you can watch either one of the shows that I'm on, fucking, I've done the job for everybody,
right.
and gratefully done. Some of my favorite matches are matches that I didn't win, but you know, it's about having a good match. If the match got over, then I won,
right.
in my opinion. So it's not about the like winning or losing or a belt or even anything like that. It was number one, okay. With all that heat going in, and I kept saying, I don't want to work with him. I don't want to work with him. And he says stupid shit too, like just. Sometimes I think he's just so full of himself he doesn't even realize that what he's saying is fucking coming across like an asshole, and it literally I didn't want to work with him. And then what they did was they go, okay, well Daniels isn't going to be along for very much longer. And fucking at first it was pitch I was going to do this big program with Daniels. And then they changed that the night before. Like I found out that it wasn't a title match when I watched the finish of the match before, because I did 2 back-to-back shows. And I'm like, okay, well, they talked to me for a month about putting the strap on me, and then they, like I said, they switched it back on JP, which when they know the heat between me and JP, it felt totally like it's like a fuck you.
Right.
But even then, I didn't care. I'm like whatever, because it's not, like I said, I'm not a belt mark or anything like that. When I keep seeing him promoted, when there was guys, for a year, Marcus Burke and myself were the most over guys in that company, and fucking JP was floundering, and they just, in wrestling, promoters put in so much time to getting someone over, right? They invest a lot of time, storylines, whatever the case may be, to get someone over. If you have someone like Suave,
organically gets over without...
Right. And it's like, you don't have to stick to plan A. You know what I mean? Like, if something happens, we should be able to roll and change with that.
And you too.
Well,
because
like I said,
you weren't being shoved down the fans' throats, but...
when the Daniels thing happened, that was the point when I was probably the most hot down there.
Right.
And then they said, okay, this is what we're doing. And I'm like, fucking A, like, I can get behind this. And then, yeah, they switched the belt back on JP, who had just left because he didn't want to do the job for someone, which, to me, and that's part of another heat spot that I have with JP, is the whole thing is, if we're doing all this to get you over, when it's time to make somebody else, it's literally your responsibility to give them that rub.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because if all of us or 5 of us become key players, we have 5 draws.
Right.
If one of us, we want to get each guy over, so once we get this guy over, then let's make him. Now we got a roster of people that the crowd can get behind.
Right.
And, yeah.
So, you said you were saying no to the match, but then it was announced. So there must have been at some point where you agree. Okay.
So the Daniels thing happened, and to me it was like, okay, if we're not doing that, what are we doing? And then no one knew what we were doing, or where we were going. I fed them this big storyline that, to me was, I had a real personal stake in it, but I thought it was good TV, and it came across good, I thought. Right. And, that's, how much I was willing to give to do business. And then that ended, I'm like, okay, so what do you got now? And it was like, the Daniels thing. Like, okay, sweet. I had a good match with Suave. Things were going good. Then the Daniels thing happened. And then, so then, like I said, I just kind of, I'm like, whatever. I came back to work. And then they did the Seidel thing, which they made me feel like, oh, this is going to be a big key thing. And I'm thinking, well, he's going to be babyface as fuck.
Right.
And I'm babyface as fuck. So if we're both baby faces, it's not going to be this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's already. So when the match didn't get over the way that it should have or could have, because there was a lot of limits on what they allowed us to do, which to me is retarded. You should never tell an entertainer, or a worker, do this or don't do this in a match. Like that should be our call. And then. They're trying to build Nick Diggs as this babyface champion. They put me with him again. And both of them, like I said, babyface on babyface, that's hard to really do anything with. And then they come back to me and they're like, oh, your pops are getting less. I'm like, well, fucking put me with a heel.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then they came back and they're like, okay, JP's going to do business with you. We're going to go the direction that we had earlier. I'm like, all right, cool. I even said to Tyler, I was like, that fucking surprises me. But sweet. They posted the poster with the match,
right.
And then that Thursday they were like, actually we're gonna switch the finish.
Okay, so
it's almost like I didn't want to work with them, and then they made it seem like, okay, he's gonna go do business, and I'm like, wow, you know what? Maybe he has changed. And then the second that poster came, he fucking, and I'm like, no, you motherfuckers, you guys did this, you jerked me around last time like this. You know what I mean? And it's clear to me, it's like. Arsenault said to me once, Heat's like teasing a little kid with a sucker, right? So if I go to give you the sucker, right when you go to take it, I pull it back, right? That makes that kid want that sucker. That's heat. If you do it 2 or 3 times, the kid keeps doing it, the heat gets higher. But if you do it too much, then the kid they won't even reach for it anymore.
Right.
Fuck it, you're not going to give it to me anyways.
And that's how you feel.
And then at that point, that sucker means nothing.
Right.
And it's like, you know what? It's not even like I don't hate Wrestlecentre, I don't hate those guys, and I hope things change and it turns around, because I think that there was, like, literally, I think we caught lightning in a bottle.
Right.
And, but, like, look at how many guys have left, and it's probably for the same reason. You cool my jets off, then me as a worker, as an independent worker, that devalues me elsewhere, mm-hmm. And I'm not going to let them do that to me.
So I want to understand, was there any point where you were under the understanding that you were winning the title? Is that why you're leaving, because something changed in that mindset, or?
That was, they said that to me, but that's not why I'm leaving at all. If there was no belt in the picture, and it was just like, we want you to work with JP and do the job for him, I would feel the same way.
Okay.
And I feel like they kind of almost lured me in with he's going to do business. Like I said, it had nothing to do with the belt. And to me, it was like, that's the second time that they did that. Okay. Right? Like, their track record is, and for whatever reason, Mosher is the hugest JP fan, Mark, whatever, and I don't understand that.
Okay, so if it was someone other than JP, you would still be with the company. Is it the... If
I hadn't been lied to and like
so there's more than it's not just JP then.
No,
okay.
But that's a big factor of it. It's almost like I said, poking a dog with a stick. Like, they know there's this issue there, and it's like you know what? We're workers, and I don't like to be worked, and I feel like I'm being worked.
Right.
I don't like that. And on top of that too, I feel like I said, me and Suave were the two most over guys there in that last year, and they just let that fucking boat sail by. And if if you're gonna let something like that sail by and leave, and so many other guys that are really good talents, and if you look at it too, the guys that have left are all the guys that have organically got over. They weren't part of their little plan.
Right.
And it's just frustrating. It's creatively stifling, and I love working there. I love working there, and like I said, the draws and the crowd. The crowd was unbelievably awesome, and still is. But yeah, now it's not even fun.
No. I know a lot of people are speculating because we announced that we were doing this regarding the future of your Wrestlecentre career. So that tells people that sounds like you're leaving as well. So to make the fans understand why you're leaving, like they don't, I guess what I'm saying is they don't really understand the workings backstage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
To me, they might just be thinking, oh shit, Steve's not getting his way.
Yeah.
So what do you say to those people that think that?
I can guarantee there's going to be probably a lot of people that think that, and that's fine. Like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's not that. I think if I worked at Subway and I was like the most awesome customer service guy, made the best sandwiches, I was always there on time, I always did extra work, there's a big promotion coming up, and I'm breaking my back, and the customers love me, my coworkers love me, I'm a shoo-in for it, and then some guy that shows up late all the time, doesn't really give a fuck, gets a promotion, I'm probably not going to stay with Subway. I'm going to probably feel like my hard work is completely unnoticed, completely unrewarded.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or any job, whatever job it is that you do, if you work your ass off and you do your job well, and like I said, in my line of work, doing your job well is being able to draw. And I like to think that I built myself in Halifax that I think I can draw. And instead of going with that and saying, okay, let's put the Jets behind them and do something with it, it's not. It's going to be the JP show, and it's frustrating as hell. I'm a wrestling fan,
right.
And all wrestlers are. We're literally so much of a big of a fan that we're like, I'm going to do this, and the ones that are on the top are the ones that do all the right steps to do it correctly.
Right.
And then when I see someone that's not doing it correctly and not willing to give that rub back, right? Because that's what it is. We build you up. Okay, if it's time to build someone else up, everything that we did to get behind you, you can now help this guy.
Right.
Right? And there isn't that.
So I kind of look at it like layering an onion. So like people will see the top layer, like, oh, Steve's not getting this way. But if you dig deeper and deeper, to me it sounds like you're just frustrated that you're not getting the proper respect.
It's all about respect.
Okay.
It's all about respect. It's not about money. It's not about the belt. JP, like I said, is really like a catalyst of a lot of things. But like I said, they're not showing that respect. Like I said, it feels shitty to be underappreciated, especially when they're spending so much time on getting other people over. It's like, I'm over here like, hello.
Right. What was the reasoning that they gave you?
There wasn't much of a reasoning. Okay, so first what happened was they came to me and they said, what do you think about working JP? And I was like, it was almost like a joke. It was Tyler. And me and Tyler actually, we communicate a lot better than me and Mosier do. And so when he said it at first, it was almost like an ironic joke. Like, what do you think about working with JP? It's like, I think we both know that. He's like, no, he's going to put you over. And I'm like, fuck, bullshit. He's like, I'm telling you this right now. We asked him. He said he had no problem with it. And knowing his track record, I was like, that's where I was like, because they've been trying to butter me up the last few times that they try to get us to work together. That, he's changed. And no, the fuck, he hasn't changed at all. And I see right through him. And fucking, and then this last time when they came to me and said, he's going to do business, and I was like, wow, maybe he really has changed. You know what I mean? And fucking, and then I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. And I know Mosier was like, Mosier, who never called me to confirm that I did say yes to working with JP
right.
Tyler, because he didn't believe Tyler. And I was like, no, man, fuck, let's do it. And I even agreed to doing work with him. Like, it wasn't just, I'm gonna take this and go fuck yourself, JP. I was like, fuck, let's do an angle. You know what I mean? And I don't even care if we trade it back and forth. my whole big thing was he ain't gonna do business. If he ain't gonna do business for anybody, and it wasn't just me. If he had fucking done business for somebody, I would have at least seen something. But it's not. It's the same old JP from UCW. And then when they said that, like I said, I was like, all right, cool. Now I can let's work. You know, we got some real heat here. Let's fucking.
You guys shot that promo video.
Yeah, and fucking, and I was 100% down for it. And then yeah, fucking they got a hold of me on that Thursday, and they're like, no, we were thinking about this, and I flat out refused. And they're like, okay, what about a DQ? And I'm like, nope. And I got to, and then I said, you know what? Don't book me. How's about that? And no, first I said, book me against anyone else, fucking, and I'll put over anybody. I'll put over anybody in the entire roster, but if you put me in that match with him, I'm not putting him over. Okay. I'm not doing a DQ. And then if you have a problem with that, you can change the match, and I'll put anyone else over, or don't book me. And then his big thing was, and we advertised it, we got to do it, and there was cancellation. Fucking, he wanted to stick to, we advertised it, so that's what we're doing.
Now, since we announced on Thursday that you're coming on my podcast to talk about your future, I'm sure you've heard from them.
Oh, like a bunch, like to not do it. And that's another thing too, like, if, no offense, but like, if you're paying me to not do it, then maybe, you know, like, or if I'm under, like, a salary type contract where I'm paid, you know, if I'm paid for wrestling in the ring, you know what I mean? So, yeah, they both tried to stop me from doing it.
But my point I was trying to make with you coming on my podcast, because I know I've been told many times that Jason Mosher tells people not to appear on my podcast for reasons unknown. I don't care.
Hates you.
Yeah, he hates me.
But Tyler says your show should be called David.
Just David?
Yeah, like Oprah.
Oprah?
Yeah, David.
Thank you, Tyler.
Today on David.
My question is, are you fearful not only being on this show and talking publicly about your problems with the match and whatnot, and that you're leaving, are you fearful that they'll just take you out of the match altogether, or punish you, or do you think they will see this tomorrow and then say, all right, Steve, you're out of the main event altogether?
Is that a two-part question? Because first you asked me if I'm fearful that they took me off the show, and what was the second part?
Well, not off the show, but like they'll say, all right, Steve, we've had enough. We're not even going to put you in the main event anymore.
I told them not. Well, I gave them those two options, because if option 3 is putting JP over, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Not doing it. I would put over anyone else in the company. And I don't want to say anyone specifically, because then it will make me seem like I'm talking bad about them, but literally from the bottom of the card to the top of the card, I would do business with anybody on that card.
Right.
You know what? Like, I know it would be a disappointment for me to not be on the show if they decided to take me off the show. If they did, I'm not worried about that either. There's other places in Halifax that I can wrestle.
Right. Which we will get to in a minute.
Well, here's the, like I said, and you said about punish me. That's part of me leaving, right? If I stay and continue, you know, I almost feel like an abused girlfriend or something, you know what I mean? Like, if I stay and let them continue to treat me that way, they're going to continue to treat me that way. If I leave, then they have zero power over me. Punish me how? You know what I mean? I got a job to someone who I shouldn't job to, well, so what? Well, I'll tear it down and have a wicked going away match and say, see you later.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I'm not worried about that, you know.
So, leaving Wrestlecentre, I'm getting two different stories. It's either you're upset by the way you're being treated respectfully, and jobbing to JP. So
I think those two are linked, don't you? Like,
I don't know.
Like if they know I have this issue with them, and they know why my issue is with them, and then they're trying to get me to do that, well, that's disrespectful to at least to the situation that they know.
Right.
Right? Like, you know, and for 2 years I said I don't want to work with them. I won't work with them. Right. And I'm sure he said the same thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I gotta play devil's advocate because I'm an interviewer, and you know. So, what do you say to those people that say, "Look, you're hired to do a job. The promoter tells you this is what you're doing. You do it. You go through the curtain, do the job, come back, get paid."
Yeah.
What do you say to those people that are saying that Steve's not doing that?
You know what? And I literally, there's a part of me that just says I should just shut my mouth take the bookings and take the money, and it's a work, and it's this, that, and the other thing. But again, I could go back to my Subway analogy. The guy that didn't get the promotion could just shut the fuck up, work his 40 hours, and they're still going to give him money. But how do they feel going to work?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's that aspect. It's not, I'm not taking my ball and going home because I didn't get my own way. It's no longer fun. And I know that, especially with this, they did the bait and switch with Daniels, which is fine. Like I said, that's where I was like, I'm a worker. Just put me with anybody. I don't care. Just let me go wrestle. And then, like I said, now the bait and switch again, and it's like, the shit's just going to keep going on. It's no longer fun. And I'm not being treated the way that I should be treated.
Right.
Period.
So, before Thursday, when you thought you were going to go over and win the title from JP, were there still thoughts in your head before that they changed, that you thought, I'm not having fun anymore with this company? Or
when a lot of my friends started leaving, you know what I mean? And I used to be like the biggest defender of Wrestlecentre.
I know.
I really did. And, a lot of close friends don't wrestle there and have different opinions about them. And I would always stick up for them. And, it was slowly but surely, now the shit's starting to happen to me, and I see them fucking up other things, and it's just like,
Have any of those guys reached out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And you don't have to say names.
No.
Because a lot of people have left the company.
Yeah.
But, again, they left for different reasons than you're leaving.
One of my good friends, who I think is being FaceTimed right now, actually said, originally when I sent him the message and said I'm bouncing, he was like, we didn't even have to have it. It was like we almost, if we were in the same room, we would have hugged. It was like we survived a sinking ship or something. It was like I didn't have to tell him why. He knew why, because he went through the exact same shit that I did. And there's both sides of us, I'm sure, and we've talked about, just take the money and do it. But like I said, when it doesn't become fun anymore, then why? There's other places I can go wrestle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I used to always say, I don't wish ill will with Wrestlecentre because a lot of my friends still work there.
Yeah.
But there's
I don't either.
Right.
But the writing's on the wall.
Personally, right? You can only take.
Right.
You can only take so much.
Yeah.
So, with that said, this is January 30th. You have announced that will be your last Wrestlecentre show.
100%. Whether they, I don't give it, at this point, I don't even give a shit what finish they put on it. Because if they do put the belt on me at that point, I'm literally going to walk back through the curtain and hand it to them.
So let's look ahead to the 30th. What's it going to be like? You going into the locker room, JP? The two of you have to work out your match. You're going to go out. I'm sure you're going to be a professional.
Maybe I'll just say, let's call it the ring.
Okay.
Let's call it the ring, brother. We've been doing this for a while.
So do you know? Do you know right now the finish? The plan?
There is no finish.
There is no finish.
There is no finish.
Okay, still up in the air.
Well, I know what I've agreed to and what I've not agreed to.
Do you think because you're speaking out, they're going to take you out of it altogether?
I don't care if they do.
You don't care?
I really don't.
Okay.
I even gave them that as an option. Just don't book me.
So they but
if I am booked, I guarantee you I'll go.
They're still advertising the match.
I seen that.
Okay.
As soon as I said I was going on your show, all of a sudden I became Wrestlecentre's favorite son.
Oh, I know.
There couldn't have been more media out there from them guys put out that night, I think, or the next day or something.
So
please love me.
Okay, so Wrestlecentre is not the only show in town.
No.
And you said
there was all kinds of places I wasn't allowed to work that now that door is open, hopefully.
Well, let's bring up one because I work for TCW. I know.
You do?
I do.
Oh my God.
I know.
I didn't know that.
Would you be willing to? I know there's some history in the past. I might not. I won't bring it up what happened, but you're not on the best terms with TCW. So would that be an option that you would look into, or are you just going to stick with ICW, Red Rock? You're red hot, and all the companies around New Brunswick, PEI. Yeah. It's just Halifax. So if you eliminate Wrestlecentre from your job, whatever.
Yeah.
What are your options? Because
I would love to do business with. There's a lot of groups in Halifax that I like to do business with, and I'm not opposed to working for TCW. Like I said, I know me and Cyril aren't on the greatest terms, but I mean, I think that would be amazing business that we could do. And I don't want to limit myself to anywhere. And that was one thing that I had to go through there. There was spots, if I'm working here, I'm not working there or there. And now, I just, want to work.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'm not opposed to at all working with TCW. All my friends work there. You know what I mean? Like, all my buddies are there. There's a lot of matchups there that haven't happened in this area that could happen there. Sexton Phoenix and I think could tear the place down. I'd love to work with Tyson Dukes. That would be, as a mark or as a fan myself, that would be something that I think would be amazing.
Right.
Mike's a great guy. Mike Hughes, Peter Smith's down there. I mean, those guys, they used to be, and they still are, but I remember when I started, they were really, really hard on me. And it wasn't until later on that I realized, they love this business so much that the quality of men that are supposed to be in here are supposed to be to a certain standard. And you know what I mean? And those guys, they're like my wrestling dads now at this point. Like, I would go to either one of them for advice before anyone else. And they're there, so.
So, if the phone rang right now, or 5 minutes from now, and it was Jason Mosier or Tyler, and they said, "Look, Steve, we changed your mind. We're going to put the belt on you. Everything's good to go." Would you still leave, or would you say, "All right, that's great. That's what I wanted," and off we go?
No, I would still leave.
Okay.
100%. They could tell me that they got CM Punk out of the UFC to come back and put me over clean. I would go out and do it, tear the house down, and be on my way.
Okay. So, well then, geez, I mean, you're one of the most popular guys in the company. So, with that being said, and this is going to be your last show, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the fans, or try to make them understand your decision, that you're not walking on them, but what would you say?
I knew going into this interview that it's really going to be split, and everyone's going to have their opinion on it, and that's fine. I totally understand and respect that, and I'm probably going to catch heat from some people. Other people are going to say probably that I said too much and shouldn't have, said anything probably. I should have just did my job.
Are you talking about guys in the industry?
Yeah, I'm sure some guys, some fans, you know what I mean? Like, and that's fine. Like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. But I mean, everyone does this because it's fun. And if it's not fun, then there's no reason for me to do it. And that's the bottom line, and the respect thing too. I mean, no one likes to feel underappreciated or disrespected, and it's creatively stifling. Those are all things that everyone can have their opinion, but at the end of the day, those are things that I have to deal with.
Right.
Right? So I have to make the decision what's right for me. I love wrestling. I want to continue to love wrestling. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm the biggest wrestling fan. I love the Wrestlecentre fans, but I know that, they're eventually going to get tired of what they're seeing too. And, I just wanted to make it, I wanted to make the company, I wanted to add to it. I wanted to contribute to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And make it a cool place to go watch.
Right.
And, so I'm going to miss them. They were probably the most vocal wrestling fans ever. And loyal wrestling fans ever. So hopefully,
they'll follow you.
Well, not just that. I mean, I hope that, when they do go to that show, things turn around and it becomes, awesome again, because it was awesome.
Right. You spoke about having fun, and you're wearing an IHW shirt. So I work for IHW, so I'd be remiss if I don't mention you're
just so fun there.
Exactly. So I always, when people ask me about Wrestlecentre compared to IHW, I always say it's like night and day.
Yeah.
What are your views of your career in IHW?
Dude, my last year there has been awesome, and I really enjoy being a heel there. I love it. I mean, it's like a family. I mean, we all traveled like without a wrestling show to meet up on New Year's Eve because you want to hang out with your family. And I love it up there. It's such a fun place. Such a fun place.
Right. Yeah. And you're one of the top heels there. You're now making your mark in Red Rock and PEI.
Yeah.
What's your experience with Red Rock Wrestling and PEI with Mike Hughes?
Again, that's a very fun place to work. And PEI is awesome. It's it's like a little adventure. You get on the ferry and go over, and it's a good amount of travel, but it's a fun trip, and they're fun shows to do. Mike is an amazing promoter. Not just the wrestling side of it. He does so much outside of wrestling that the Red Rock thing. It's almost like a given now. Like it's part of their community, and that's really amazing. With so many times that you go different places, you see wrestling done wrong. That's a place where wrestling's done right. Yeah, it's so easy to work there. Great experience, a lot of fun.
Right. You just did a tour of Newfoundland for the first
Yes,
time. You became their champion.
Right.
How was that? I have to quickly bring that up.
Dude, that was awesome. NEW is the promotion, and the promoter up there, he knows what he's doing too. He packed that place on their first show. Literally packed it. They took good care of me up there, for sure. The wrestlers, definitely, there's some potential over there. And great guys, 100%. I had a blast.
You're going again in February?
February,
Shane
yeah.
Stevens is joining
Yes, that's right. We're not exiling it up, but exile provincial wide, yeah. That will be a fun trip too. He's a good buddy of mine, so.
So I just mentioned 3 places that you work that are fun, they're great, they take care of the wrestlers, you love everything about it.
Yeah.
So what do they do different than the company that you're about to leave because it's not fun anymore?
Well, and I mean right there too, anyone that might say I'm being a dick or a prima donna or not wanting to put someone over or leaving because I'm not getting what I want or anything like that, that's a great, you couldn't have laid it out any better. If I wrestle in 10 places and I go, and 9 of them are fun and number 10 is not fun, why the fuck would I stay at number 10 if it isn't fun? It's supposed to be fun. I think one of the big things is Wrestlecentre produces television shows, and I'm not an actor. I couldn't act my way out of a fucking wet paper bag.
Oh, I've seen some of your voltage shifts. But
I'm not. Like that's not my thing. That's not my passion. When I was a little kid, I didn't grow up and dream about being an actor. I grew up and dreamt about being a wrestler. A lot of those other places, I get to be a wrestler. There, I have to be an actor, and there, I have to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trusted that I might be doing this for 14 years and might know a little bit about a little bit. Like,
right.
Allow me. You hired me for a reason. You're paying me this money for a reason. Allow me to go out there and deliver with my experience, not become an actor.
Right. So, I'm going to close this. January 30th, it's you versus JP Sims, whether we
Maybe.
Well, maybe. But
I'm still willing to wrestle him. I'm 100% willing to wrestle him. 1,000% willing to wrestle him. But I'm not willing to put him over.
Okay. So, but will you still go into that match being a professional? It's not going to be a big stiff fest.
No, I listen. Some people if you ask anyone that I work snug anyways. So.
Well, the best of luck. I love you, brother.
No luck needed.
I'm here with Steve Arsenault. The last match at Wrestlecentre, January 30th. I hate to promote it, but go see this guy. It's the last time you'll see him there, I guess, and we'll see you at ISW for sure.
Yeah.
I'm Dave Boyce. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.